anything after 4, because season 4 is the Trinity Killer with John Lithgow. It is some of the best television that's ever been made. And this is no joke. I have not seen a single episode after that.
No show has ever gotten as high as Dexter did in 4 and fallen off so bad in season 5 that the difference was stark.
If I were you, I'd give up vigilantism. You're not very good at it. Goodbye, Dexter Morgan.
He's right. I screwed up. I let it come to this. But no more.
Welcome to the iKnowBadeaux podcast.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to the iKnowBadeaux podcast, coming at you from the Slice on Oak Studios. I am Mayor Dave Badeaux of the city of Brainerd, and with me, as always, is my brother.
I didn't ask to be born.
Yeah, that is an appropriate amount of pause. Thank you. Gabriel Johnson, how are you?
Oh, Dave, I am well. How are you?
I am excellent. We're going to do 2006 today. Are you ready for that?
Not really.
Well, let's get started. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Be Kind Rewind 2006. Now, before we start the pop culture portion of 2006, we'll preference that next week we are going to do the part 2, which is the movies of 2006. Last episode, I said we are going to watch The Constant Gardener.
Yes.
Didn't stop.
Well, I did watch it. First of all, it turns out it's 2005, so what a waste of time. Secondly, it's like right on that cusp of like, okay. So it's not even really going to be fun to talk about anyway. So if you were excited to watch The Constant Gardener,
Well, when you misname a movie so badly, it can't be good.
These people, they kill anybody. From the international bestseller comes the most anticipated thriller of the year.
Some very nasty things live under rocks, especially in foreign gardens.
The Constant Gardener.
I will just say this and then we'll move on. It's okay. Like, I actually was like, okay, there's not enough in here to make fun of. He does garden a lot. I was really
constantly.
I can see why other people would think that. It's like, hey, every time I see you, all you're doing is gardening. So I can understand the thought process.
Well, when did you do the spy stuff?
So it is a movie about and this is right up your alley and very topical. It is about the medical drug industry and how they abuse patients and whatnot, specifically in Africa in this instance. So not bad. I'll recommend it. Go watch it. Worst name of all time.
The Constant Gardener.
And we'll never talk about it again.
I'm actually surprised that he really does garden.
Yeah,
I thought it was going to be like a metaphor.
Right, like thank you for smoking. He's out there finding people to get addicted to opioids. But no.
Yeah, I actually thought the same thing. Like the first time you see him, he's like watering a plant, and I was like, "Oh shit!"
That's really what's happening.
Yeah, okay. He's really into it. There's one point in the movie. God, I hate that we're starting the episode off this way.
Starting off with someone from 2005.
There's one part in the movie where he's like really frustrated because something happens and he's having a bad time and he's at this place that is kind of in disarray and he just picks up a rake and just starts raking to clean it up. Like his brain is so broken by gardening.
That's his stim. He's the constant gardener.
He is the constant gardener. But folks, we're not talking about the constant gardener. We're talking 2006. And as we do every episode, let's talk music.
Gnarls Barkley dropped their first album.
Well, I think you're
crazy.
It was crazy.
It was crazy.
I think you're crazy, just like me.
actually really enjoy that album. I did purchase that. I did own that on CD.
Compact discs were still a thing in 2006.
Compact discs were still a thing. CeeLo Green was very small.
His arms are small. He's a big guy.
I don't think so. I'm pretty
Was he small?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
in 2006?
I'm pretty sure he's a little shorty.
Yeah.
Pretty sure he's a little short, bald guy. But he had a little downfall later on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, a little downfall later on. Who's the guy with the huge hat? Pharrell?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's his big song that he did for that one movie?
Happy.
Yeah. That was initially supposed to be a CeeLo Green song.
Oh, that I could see CeeLo singing that. Yeah.
Yes, but that was right around the time that CeeLo Green
Was it just
At a Diddy party.
I was didding.
yeah?
A little ditty.
Had a little ditty. I only remember like a tweet.
Yeah, he was getting he got into a little bit of trouble, but then there was the tweet. It was kind of the compounding. Okay. It's like you get the tweet and then people are like, well, wait a minute, but also this,
But also the times, like 2017 was crazy. People were psycho.
Yeah, people were psycho, but I think CeeLo was I think it was justified. I might be wrong. I'm not going to dig into.
Well, didn't he tweet? I couldn't possibly have raped this person.
Yes.
Because they were asleep and couldn't tell me no.
Yes.
I forgot about.
So
there's no way they could have said no. Okay.
So there's the tweet, and then there's but the rape.
It's the hypocrisy of it.
So
I forgot about that.
So up here's the tweet, but then down here is the rape.
Yeah,
non-consensual penetration.
I only remember the tweet.
Nocturnal, non-consensual penetration. It's a solid defense.
Yeah, she didn't say no.
Yeah. Anyways, Crazy from 2006. Pretty decent little album though. It had a nice little like a completeness to it. I felt like I actually owned it and enjoyed it. I thought they were unique, but not like off the walls completely.
And they had 2 or 3 albums that were all good.
Yeah, they did well. Yeah, I don't even remember what the other guy's name was because it was 2 dudes.
Mm-hmm. But one sounded like a chick, and also rape a chick.
The one that sounded like a chick was CeeLo. Oh, here he is in a dress. So that's fun. He's a big dude, and I don't mean tall. And I don't mean tall.
No,
he's a large, fat, bald man
with tiny arms.
With tiny arms. Anyways, we can move on from that. Danger Mouse. There you go. CeeLo Green and Danger Mouse.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Danger Mouse is pretty sweet. So I don't know. Maybe he's rapey too. Who knows? Who knows?
Well, we're off to a great start.
We are. Well, it's the iKnowBadeaux podcast. Welcome, folks, as always. But you brought up an interesting fact that this is, I would say, probably the end of CDs. For me, I think this was the very, very end for me. The Arctic Monkeys, Whatever People Say I Am, is a fantastic album that I did own. And now I'm trying to look and see if there's anything else in here that I did. Yeah, so it was Saying Elsewhere from Gnarls Barkley. I want to say, yeah, there we go. Muse.
Uh-huh.
Black Holes and Revelations. That is the one that has Knights of Cambodia on it. So
it's Knights of Sidonia.
Yeah, it's Knights of Sidonia, but I can't read. And so I see letters and then I just make up whatever word it is.
That's Cambodia.
Yeah, Cambodia. So I believe I was having a conversation with Scott and I said, I really like that song, Knights of Cambodia.
And I said, I think you mean Knights of Sidonia. There's no knights in Cambodia.
Maybe we're in the 70s.
So, but yeah, those are some of the very last albums that I purchased. And I know this because I believe 2007 is when In Rainbows came out.
Uh-huh.
And that was Radiohead that, came out in December of 2007. and
Pay whatever you want.
That was the pay whatever you want album. Yeah. I downloaded that and I gave them like $13.99 or whatever a CD costs.
Cool.
I did.
Cool.
Yeah.
I gave them what I typically give for CDs, $2 for In Rainbows. But I remember that specifically, like that was the last time I never bought a CD after that. That was once that happened, once they introduced like, hey, you don't even need the middleman anymore. And that's really what this was, I mean, again, it's 2007, but it is that there's this line drawn in the sand of like, we don't need these companies anymore. You can download this album from us. Give us whatever you want. And if you could actually buy the vinyl as well. So
you need physical media, right? This download thing was fresh and cool in 2007. I'm buying vinyl left and right.
Yeah.
I'm getting physical media. I'm listening to albums. I'm not dicking around with letting my telephone delete my songs.
yeah. Yeah. I made the decision this weekend that I'm cutting all of the services. So I was an early adapter of cutting the cable and going to streaming. I was very early in the streaming game where I was like, no, I don't want to pay for cable anymore. I want to go and finding whatever services were available. And now I'm going to be an early adopter on getting the hell out. I'm done. We're going to keep Netflix. I'm going to keep HBO because I really like HBO. But other than that, we're done. I can't.
No Disney?
Nope. I am done with Disney. I'm done with anybody that thinks that you should also have commercials as well. So our plan,
Disney doesn't have commercials.
it doesn't, except for the fact that we switched to Hulu Live. And when we switched to Hulu Live so we could watch live sports, it made us change our Disney, and our Disney now has ads. So I'm done with that. I'm done with, now that Prime switched over to ads, I'm done with it.
You're not doing 2-day delivery anymore?
Yeah, I'm canceling my Prime. Yeah. Well, I already did.
Next time you buy something on Amazon, they automatically sign you up for Prime. I've canceled Prime so many times.
I refuse to watch commercials unless I'm watching. But what I want to do now is I'm going to do a in-home media server because you've seen it. I have hundreds of DVDs and Blu-rays that I still have, and we're just going to start uploading them, and I'm just going to, it makes the most sense. I have all those.
Oh, we should start the iKnowBadeaux streaming service.
iKnowBadeaux stream, you know me? You can stream from me. So, but anyways, end of CDs, pretty much the end of that whole era of having the physical media. I know it continued on forward, but this was the first shot across the bow, I think, for most of that media in moving towards.
Well, Napster was like the first shot. This was like the final blow.
No, I would say that this is like the first shot at the actual, like, okay, this is now something you can do much more conveniently than, because even before that, I would buy the CD, upload it to the computer, and then have all the songs.
Then you wake up and there's a U2 album on your phone.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Yeah. Well, one of the albums I had was Kings of Leon, and Sony put a virus on it. So you would go to put it in your computer, and your computer would say, no, this is a virus, and I no longer had that album. So I purchased the album so I could have the music, put it into my computer.
As soon as you put it into a CD burner, it just erases?
No, it had a virus. It was a tracking virus that I had put in there. Now they probably wouldn't even call it a virus because now it's on everything. But they were trying to track your data, and Windows would not allow you to play that CD because it actually had a virus. And it was a big deal. They actually recalled all those CDs and stuff too. So,
Well, see you later.
End of CDs.
Interesting.
Any other thing from music that you guys want to chat at?
Streetlight Manifesto debuted.
Ooh, really?
Yep.
Oh,
Keysby Nights, which was just a complete re-recording of Catch-22's
Yes.
Keysby Nights album. They just made all the same songs again with a couple of different guys.
Yeah.
One of the best ska albums of all time.
By far one of the best albums. I did not know that was
still exists.
You're goddamn right it does.
I didn't know that was 2006.
Yep. 2006. And NoFX dropped an album, Wolves in Wolves Clothing, that has one of my favorite NoFX songs, Seeing Double at the Triple Rock.
Nice.
Which was a punk venue in Minneapolis until recently.
Yeah.
I think it finally closed down within the last 7-8 years or so.
That's crazy.
First place I ever drove to my own concert not my own concert. Just drove to a concert by myself.
Yep.
I saw the Suicide Machines there. Huh. That venue was awesome. Tiny little place, the little pit that you'd have to walk down into.
Yeah.
So like you're actually like when you're in the pit, you're in the pit.
Yeah.
And NoFX, one of the best punk rock bands of all time, wrote a song about it.
Is that like fifth wave ska?
NoFX?
NoFX is not ska.
What like that when you're getting like your Streetlight Manifesto and stuff? Is that like fifth wave?
No, that still counts as third.
Okay. All right. So
we're only just now starting to maybe be in the fourth wave.
Oh, fourth wave, folks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Ska still exists.
Ska will never go away.
Yeah.
Will never go away.
It's too fun.
Yeah, it's fun to sing depressing songs in a happy way. What are you talking about? It's the best thing in the world.
They come for me, I'll be sitting at my desk with a gun in my hand, wearing a bulletproof vest. Hey, my, have a time, let's fly when you know you're gonna die by the end of the night. I said,
hey. Good times.
Hey, speaking of good times, Gabe?
Remember the Sears Tower?
I do remember it.
In 2006, it was going to be bombed, but the FBI saved us.
Holy Jesus in heaven.
So 9/11 happened, if you remember that. And the FBI at that time, on like 9/12, said, oh, we should have stopped that. So they're like, how are we going to stop the next one? What are we going to do? So they got real proactive in hunting down and searching for terrorists. Enter the Liberty City 7. Liberty City, Miami.
Yeah.
7 dudes in their early 20s. Their leader was maybe like 30 or something. Owned a struggling construction company.
Okay.
And they had a warehouse, and they like to meet up on the weekends for a little bit of karate and prayer.
Oh, that's a hell of a combo. That's a 1-2 punch.
The leader guy, the old guy, walked around in Jesus robes and stuff.
Okay. And the other guys just walked around in regular robes.
They just followed him. He was the leader. They were a bit eccentric, right? They did some Muslim prayers, some Christian prayers, a little bit of everything. And somebody called the FBI and said, I found some weirdos.
Which is what the FBI is really good at. The FBI is very good at finding weirdos. Mm-hmm. And then
they sent in an informant pretending to be Al-Qaeda.
Okay.
Knowing that these guys were poor. Said, I'll give you $50,000 if you tell me you're going to blow up the Sears Tower. And they're like, we're going to blow up Sears Tower.
What?
Can I have the money? And they're like, well, no, you can't have the money yet. You need to like put together a better plan than just saying it. Like, okay, well, we'll write down that we're going to blow up the Sears Tower. Like, no, you need to go around and take like video of federal buildings to show that you can do surveillance and everything. And they're like, but we don't have a car or a camera. So the FBI is like, well, here's a car. We'll give you a ride. Here's a camera. And they drove these guys to like the federal buildings around the Miami area. And they like took pictures and video and stuff. And they were planning a terrorist attack. These guys were terrorists.
Yeah, well, yeah. Sounds like it.
So then the FBI said, well, what do you need to blow up the Sears Tower? And they like said they needed some tactical boots or something. And like a sandwich. They were hungry. They didn't ask for weapons. They didn't ask for bombs. They didn't ask for guns. None of that. These guys had no clue how to do any of that. Charged with bombing the Sears Tower. 7 of them. 2 were acquitted. After 3 trials, 5 were convicted of trying to commit terrorism. They thought they were trying to swindle a guy from Yemen to get $50,000.
Yeah.
Nope, they got prison sentences of 6 to 13 years.
Jesus.
They had no operational ability. Even the FBI said it was more aspirational than operational.
Oh, yeah. Guilty.
But this is the post 9/11 fury of the government.
It's very interesting because, again, very anti-bombing. Mm-hmm. Very
way out of line.
Yeah, way out of line. Very anti-terrorism, but also the FBI, because you're even getting into that stuff now, and I hate to like get into current politics, like the January 6th stuff where you're like, it's cut and dry. Like you don't do that. And then you're like, God damn, dude, our government sucks.
Well, you see how many FBI guys were on the ground there. It's like the FBI now trying to proactively stop everything is like pushing everything forward to be done.
Well, that's what they do with CIA as well. Like CIA goes and buys a bunch of shell businesses, and then like that, you got to keep ahead of things. But at the same time, you keep dangling carrots in front of people and then going, oh, gotcha.
Find a poor person like, hey, if you say you'll do this, I'll give you 50,000. They'll fucking say it every single day of the week.
I would probably say it, sadly. 50,000? Yeah, dude. Yeah, absolutely. Sears?
I would bomb the Willis Tower for $50,000.
Yeah, Sears is going out of business, dude. Is it still the Sears Tower?
It's the Willis Tower.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah.
That's because that's Chicago, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's
These guys were in Miami.
Yeah.
What the hell is that all about?
Well, but people
they
don't
said
care about
there was
Miami.
there was like 15,000 hours of FBI footage of these guys in like a 1-year investigation. Like they had everything.
See,
But they had these guys saying, yeah, when we blow up the Sears Tower, we're going to make sure nobody survives. Everybody's going to. But these guys have never even been to Chicago.
Yeah, well, they're still pretty dumb. So okay.
Yeah, they did karate and prayer on the weekends following a guy in a Jesus robe.
Yeah, 5 years for that.
Bow to your sensei.
I wish that, because this is like, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but this is the stuff that our government does that drives me insane. Because these guys are probably a little deficient and poor, and those are the ones you target every time. Like they never go after a rich dude.
No, where's Jeffrey Epstein's list?
The rich dudes just get suicided, and then no one else finds out about the rest of it. Like all the actual stuff that we care about, that we're like, let's stop that.
Yep.
Let the taking of young girls to islands to do nefarious things by very rich people. Let's stop that. Let's just stop that.
Nope. There's a guy who needs money in Miami.
Yep. So we got, well, at least there's less karate on the weekends.
Hey, it's community.
What do you think their setup looks like? Is it like in a strip mall? Like, what do you think?
It was a warehouse, so they were in the industrial park.
Oh.
So, but they owned a construction company. So
Yeah.
you have your stuff, your materials in the warehouse, and then you go pray and do some karate on the weekends.
Should have stuck with Jesus.
Wait here, I can handle this.
Right. Let's move on. Technically not a bombing, but
It was a bomb plot.
it was a bomb plot. There's a blom blot.
You're gonna have a bad time.
Okay, let's go with television. Gabe, you've been wanting to talk about this for a long time. Let's go with Dexter.
Dexter, I think we've talked about it or touched on it a number of times.
Well, we did the draft.
Yeah, we did the draft.
The villain draft.
Yep.
Did the villain draft and maybe a theme song even. Like the intro is pretty sick for Dexter.
Yeah, I think I got mentioned, but I don't. It definitely didn't get picked.
Okay, so Dexter is played by Michael C. Hall.
Yes.
He's works for the police department as a blood splatter analysis, and is also a serial killer who just opens up cold cases and goes and finds them and kills them.
Yep.
Fun romp through about 4 seasons.
Yeah.
Then season 5, Michael C. Hall gets cancer, wears a wig, wins Best Actor at the Golden Globes.
Yes.
Shows up wearing like a black hat, almost a beanie, and people got mad.
Yeah. How dare he?
About the beanie?
Yeah.
They didn't know he had cancer, so they thought he was not formal enough for the event.
Okay.
Here we're giving you an award, and you're wearing a beanie.
I see.
How dare?
Yeah.
Turns out,
Cancer.
not that the cancer's funny. The cancer's not funny.
He beat it.
More so, how dumb do you have to feel? Because I do remember that. I do remember that happening. I remember him wearing the beanie, and then people like being outraged. You know, how dare he? And then the next day, people being like, "Oh, whoops."
Man, do I sound like an idiot.
Good luck with that, buddy.
So I'm guessing the wig was pretty high quality
Had to have been.
because we didn't know.
Yeah, most women in shows wear wigs. It's just easier for continuity, right?
Right. The hair, you can keep the hair the same.
It's the same. Yeah. Did he have long hair in that season?
His hair's about as long as yours. Pretty much the whole series, yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. I really enjoy that show. I just went back. I only watched like the first couple episodes. Episode 1 of Dexter, I will argue, is a perfect episode of a television show.
The first season, I went through the first 2 seasons or so, but the first season is just excellent. It's a good introduction to a show. It gets the meat hooks in you right away, and you want to see what the hell is going on.
Yeah, they did a really, really good job of introducing all of the aspects of what this series is going to be in one episode. Like from start to finish, he starts off and he's stalking a guy and goes and kills him right away. That's the beginning of the show. So like right away you're introduced to that. And then you're slowly kind of introduced to, oh, he's a cop. Oh, there's another serial killer. Oh, this serial killer is going to be toying with him. And there's this arc of that episode that every beat that you need to know along the way, you get introduced to almost every character that's in the entire series or the entire season, and you know exactly what their plot points are going to be. You get through the end and you're like, all right, let's go. Here's the journey. You have set me up for the journey very well.
Deborah is Dexter's sister. I forgot how much I fucking hate her.
Sucks.
How did you
moly.
forget that?
I don't know.
That's the one thing about that show that I, looking back on it, was like, God, but then I got to watch his sister again.
Yeah, she is terrible.
Yeah.
And she doesn't get better.
No, not at all.
I actually, in episode 1, I was like, okay, like we can build off this. And then I remembered like, yeah, but she never gets better.
At the end of season 1, Dexter's brother has Deborah taped down in their childhood home.
Okay.
And he wants to team up and kill Deb.
Yes.
And move forward as a team, as a combo.
Yes.
I was for it.
Oh, absolutely, dude. Absolutely. The series finale at the end where she is potentially going to die.
Yeah.
I was just like, yes, finally.
I don't even count that season. Anything after 4, because season 4 is the Trinity Killer with John Lithgow. It is some of the best television that's ever been made. And this is no joke. I have not seen a single episode after that because I was lucky enough that I was behind. So at that point in 2006, it was on Showtime. We didn't have Showtime. I think we had HBO at that point, but I didn't have Showtime. I was like, I'm not paying for yet another one. So I was a year behind because I was still doing Netflix on DVD.
Yeah.
So I watched Dexter on DVD through the mail. And so I was about a year, maybe 6 months late on every single season that was coming through. But I was lucky enough that I had the Trinity Killer far enough down the line to where everyone was already into season 5. They're like, it's terrible. Don't even bother with it. And so I just never continued.
And that's the right call. I mean, viewers, if you haven't watched Dexter, you must watch it
Except for
through
Gabe,
season 4.
Yeah, except for Gabe just told you the whole first season. So,
Oh, spoiler alert from a show that came out in 2006.
great show. And I'm not kidding you. That first, if you even think you might be interested in it, go watch that first episode. It's such a well put together premise. And then the execution of it as well is excellent. The sound design, the shot composition, it's just a well-oiled show. But then again, you got to deal with his sister, which they also try to make her hot, and she's not hot.
Yeah.
No.
Oh God! Like your introduction to her is she's dressed as a hooker, and you're like, no. Get some other skanks in here.
But the intro, I want to go back to the intro to the show. So it's Dexter waking up in the morning, cooking breakfast, cracking an egg, slicing some ham, eating it. But there's just so many like splatter references where the grease is splattering here and the egg is splattering there. And it's just kind of
The knife cutting through the meat.
Yeah, through the flesh. Yeah. It's a fantastic intro.
It is, and it's very 2006. That was it. The feel of that intro is very 2006. Okay. Final thoughts on Dexter.
It's a great show for a while.
4 seasons is excellent. And again, you just got to learn. You don't need an ending to that show. He's a serial killer that kills people, and he could go on forever. Who gives a fuck, right? I think that one of the mistakes that shows make is that they feel like they have to have an ending. Like, you should have just let him go forever. It's a better ending.
And their ending was terrible.
Yeah, the ending of that, and you could have done the same thing with Breaking Bad, even though I think Breaking Bad had a pretty good ending. He could go on forever. Who gives a shit? You know, like it's kind of fun that sometimes these people get away with it.
Yeah. My final thought is most shows are good for 3 to 4 seasons.
Yeah.
And then fall off.
Yeah.
No show has ever gotten as high as Dexter did in 4 and fallen off so bad in season 5 that the difference was stark.
Yeah, I think I would argue that that's because 4 is like its own. It's like a novel, right? Like you read that novel, and it's so complete, and then the next one you're almost like trying to retell a tale, but you have to. If you even try to connect those dots, there's no reason to do it. So you almost have to cut it completely and start new, and there's no reason to even do that. Just be done.
Yeah, it's over.
Yeah, just be done.
And Lithgow's character.
He was
Holy moly.
excellent.
Holy moly.
Couldn't have been happier because I've been a huge fan of him.
Since Harry and the Hendersons.
That's literally a true story.
And Third Rock from the Sun.
Third Rock from the Sun, which is interesting because our next thing on here is 30 Rock.
Aha.
Not from the Sun. Also 2006.
NBC is putting together a pretty good primetime lineup at this point.
Yeah.
Right? They had The Office. You had 30 Rock, which is kind of a sketch comedy, a show about a sketch comedy show like SNL or something.
Like writing about writing.
Yep.
Yeah. But then in the years to come, they add Parks and Rec and Community and NBC. This is really when they're just putting together the Thursday night lineup.
You kind of had your finishing of the 90s stuff and maybe a little lull for 5 years or so where there isn't a ton of really good stuff on NBC.
Yep.
And then, this is just skyrocketing back into the stratosphere. "30 Rock" is an interesting one. So Tina Fey basically writes a fan fiction of her own life.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So Tina Fey was the head writer on SNL at the time. I believe at the time that this show happened. I think she left and became this. And there may have been some crossover as well. But the lead writer on SNL hires a lot of really funny talent right at that point, and then goes and writes this show. Lorne Michaels is the actual executive producer, and it's set in 30 Rockefeller Center, which is where SNL is. And so it's a show about a live sketch comedy show on NBC in the same tower that she works in. And then you're right. It's more about the writing and the things that the writers have to deal with.
Right. The actors are just over the top. Tracy Morgan does a great job. I forget the blonde's name.
Yes.
But just over the top. The actors are absolutely terrible. The writers are ridiculous. And Tina's just trying to pull all of this together every week.
Yes.
Well, Dr. Spaceman. I owe you an apology, Trey.
I think Tina Fey is okay. I think she's funny.
I like her.
Yeah, I think her delivery works well in a lot of instances. I think there are instances where like her delivery is, like she's an okay actress.
Right.
Great writer, great jokes. Not the best delivery always.
No, I saw her in like some horror-ish murder mystery movie a couple of years ago. Kind of took you out of it a little bit because there's some pretty good actors in this movie, and then Tina Fey.
Yeah.
It was like, took me a while to settle into that.
She's good. She's just very deadpan.
Yeah.
But
she works great for this show.
It does work great it's her playing herself, doing deadpan. And most of the time it's very, very well. Every once in a while it just kind of misses. The one that hits, so first you said Tracy Morgan. So Tracy Morgan plays Tracy Jordan on this. And the premise is that he is taking over and joining the show that she has. And Tracy Morgan is hilarious. And he plays himself only dialed up to 11,
Yeah.
which is awesome. It's a great premise. And then Alec Baldwin, who, you know, he may have murdered people later in life. But at this point,
he's doing his like best Bill O'Reilly.
Great role for him.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, the show was originally supposed to be like a Bill O'Reilly type news show.
Okay.
It wasn't going to be the skit
interesting.
show. And I think it was Lorne Michaels that made her change that.
Interesting.
Convinced her to change that.
Yeah, it's a great bit because you kind of forget how the structure of television works. And it's failing now, which is so interesting because it's the same thing we've talked about with like the movie industry too. Like you did this great job of creating these environments in which you had a machine that just continually kicks things out. Television is a great example of that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't even really think about like the promos you have to shoot before the SNL thing. You know, so on Tuesday we shoot the promo. So the guy comes in, you're going to shoot the promo. I'm so-and-so and I'm doing this tonight, or you know, on Saturday night. All that stuff is so well oiled and so greased to the max. But then at the same time, you've got this hierarchy at the top of the building.
They're counting the dollars.
They're counting the dollars, and they're not even necessarily interested in television because it's a conglomerate, and in this case it's GE,
right?
Which makes for hilarious stuff because he's like television and microwave programming.
I'm the new vice president of East Coast Television and Microwave Oven Programming.
That sounds like you program microwave ovens.
But it's just great. He's a great character, Michael Baldwin's character, in that he's
Alec.
Michael.
Sorry, Alec.
There's probably a Michael.
There probably is an Alec. There probably is. Alec Baldwin playing that character that, look, I know how to do my job. You let me do my job. You do your job. However, at the same time, I don't necessarily really care all that much about what you're doing other than it's supposed to be successful for me doing this. We're here to sell ovens, folks.
Yep. No, I love Alec Baldwin's character. Took a quote from him that I use quite often. Well, not quite often, but every time I'm wearing a tuxedo.
Okay.
If I'm wearing a tux, somebody always inevitably comments on it. In one episode, he was wearing a tux just around the office, and somebody commented on it. He said, "It's after 6 p.m. What am I, a farmer?" Use it every time.
My favorite one-liner from the show is just when he goes, just shut it down, shut it down, shut it down. I use that meme all the time. Shut it down, shut it down. Not enough. Scott, final thought.
I love that show. I think it's hilarious. There was I saw a thing that they counted the jokes per minute. 10. About 10 jokes per minute throughout the length of the show.
That's crazy. Through the entire length of the entire show?
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's high bar.
It's a joke every 6 seconds.
That's rapid. Yeah.
That's just like boom, 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 boom. Joke, 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 joke. And obviously, you know, not all of them hit, but when there's that many, even a 50% hit rate.
Yeah.
You're crushing it.
And I love the subtle jokes as well, like the lemon party, which is just, there's such a great joke.
The lemon party, Kenneth is potentially an immortal.
I got you. New York, third wave feminist, college educated, single and pretending to be happy about it, overscheduled, undersexed. You buy any magazine that says healthy body image on the cover, and every 2 years you take up knitting for a week.
That is dead on.
What are you going to guess my weight now?
You don't want me to do that.
Great show. Another one from 2006 that I gotta say this. I don't know how it happened, but I have been watching or had watched 2.5 seasons of the show Psych.
Okay.
I have no idea how. I thought we were talking about Psych like years ago. 2003, 2002. I don't know how, but I know for a fact that I thought this was a show that was earlier on. I think it was just because Gabe constantly talks about it. Maybe I just started watching it.
Absolutely love the show Psych. It's up there with House for me on something that I can just put on anytime.
Right.
And that's what happened. I started watching it and it just became background for a month, essentially, right? Just put it on and let it go. Mm-hmm. Great premise.
Great premise. A guy who notices things.
Mm-hmm. But
he's like a mentalist or something like that.
Yeah, but he's a cocky mentalist who then says it's way easier if I make people think that I'm actually psychic.
Yeah. So he pretends to be psychic after just kind of piecing, helps the police department. The police department hates him, but they open a private detective agency and solve all the crimes the police can't, and the police hate him.
Yeah, and part of the bit is that he has to make it look like he's psychic.
Right.
So really he's just like, no, I noticed you have mustard on your shirt. But then he's like, I have to figure out a way to not make it look like I just knew there was mustard on your shirt. Very funny. And I was surprised. Like, you have talked about this show so often that I just started watching it, and I was really surprised that I really enjoyed, because it's early. Like, this feels like an earlier show than 2006. It felt, even now in my brain, like going back and thinking about it, it feels like something from the early 2000s.
Yeah, I get like Mad Monk vibes.
That's what I thought. I think I watched it. I thought it came out the same time as Monk.
Yeah.
Because I watched it the same time as Monk, and they're very similar. It's a very similar show and concept, only Monk is, people just know, he's like, oh, that's just the autistic dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fun show, though.
Love it. And it's one of those shows that there are longer story arcs, but you don't even need to pay attention.
Yeah,
you can just turn on
put
any
on an
episode
episode
of any time, and it's enjoyable.
Yeah, it's kind of like a comedic Murder, She Wrote almost. Like
Sure.
Murder. I hate to admit it, folks, but I actually really like Murder, She Wrote. My grandma used to watch it, and I've watched a lot of Murder, She Wrote. I love, like, murder mysteries are fun to me, and this feels like a comedic kind of murder. It's not always murder, but it's always, it's very Sherlock Holmes-ish, right? Almost to the point where they've kind of like set it up to be, it's him and another guy that have their detective agency. And it's just an interesting take on that concept, where it's like, how is he, like, why he knows things, but they still kind of dotted along, like, how is he going to get to the end, and how is he going to make people think that he's just psychic along the way? It's an interesting concept.
And chaos ensues in between.
Yeah, definitely.
Actually, he's the psychic. I'm a pharmaceutical salesman. We also do commercial jingles. No, we don't. We will. Boom, boom, boom. Muffins.
I think we're coming down to the end of the TV shows here. But Scott.
Yeah.
You're a man that likes the fine things in life.
I do.
You're also a small restaurant owner. In 2006, the world was introduced to one Guy Fieri.
Hell yeah.
That's great. You know what really makes it? It's the salsa. The house-made salsa.
Yeah. Oh, if we run out of salsa, we might as well not even open up.
Not Fieri.
Not Fieri. It's Fieri.
It's Fieri.
Born Guy Ferry.
Are you serious?
Ferry.
Hold on a second now. So his real name is Guy Ferry?
I think it was like an Americanized version, and he just went back to his original family name, which was Fieri.
I still put it on his parents. I mean, if your last name is Ferry, you're stuck with it. That's your last name.
Yeah.
You don't name your kid Guy.
Yeah.
Guy Ferry.
Who's this guy? Ferry. Interesting though, with his look and feel. I'd go with Fieri too. But then at the same time, you gotta lean harder into it, because I didn't even know it was Fieri until he started bitching about it. He's like, no, it's Fieri. It's been Fieri forever. It's like, nobody knows that. You've been on television for 3 decades at this point.
Yeah, I think Fieri, throw a T in there, please.
2 decades.
I think anybody that actually watched the show and didn't just see the name written out knew.
No, but when you talk like pop culture, though, like once it hits pop culture, it's like the football or baseball players that, like, the college announcer's been calling you something forever.
Right.
Like, you got to go up into the booth. And you got to tell him, you got to correct him, because by the time you get done with college, it don't matter anymore, man. You don't get to point it out.
Yeah, you're not Tyrod, you're Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah, you don't get to point it out once you hit the NFL. You got to go up in the booth and shut it down.
Yeah, fair.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about diners, drive-ins, and dives.
Triple D.
Nothing gets more diner-esque than those old-school joints along Route 66. I mean, it's as Americana as it gets.
The Triple D, the D3, Deek.
Still going strong in 2024.
Really?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. There's a never-ending supply of diners, drive-ins, and or dives.
Well, and you can always go back. It's a great concept because you can go back.
Right.
What's changed? Still doing it. Still making the same thing. Still making the sloppy Joe, folks.
And it's the most delicious sloppy Joe he has ever eaten in his life.
Yeah, Scott, I know that you love this guy.
I don't love the guy, but I just don't get the hate that he gets. He just seems like a pleasant dude to be around. Good vibes, man.
Yeah.
He's just always in a good mood.
Yeah, I've always liked him.
It's the overzealous.
That's out of bounds.
Yeah.
Put that on a flip flop. That's one of his catchphrases.
If you get 18, 19 seasons,
yeah.
Like you mentioned earlier, Scott, something about Gordon Ramsay. It's like Gordon Ramsay didn't get 18 fucking seasons.
No, he didn't. No, because he's kind of an asshole. Kind of, just a little bit.
Yeah.
Guy Fieri.
Yeah. Fieri. Favorite episode?
I don't know that I have a favorite episode.
Yes, you do.
So, okay, there's one of, I don't know that it's my favorite episode. It's just the only place that I've actually been to.
Okay, well, that becomes your favorite.
There was I don't think it's there anymore, but it was like Marla's Caribbean Cuisine in Minneapolis.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, diner? Drive-in
Yeah,
or a dive?
When I think
a dive.
When I think Caribbean, I think Minnesota.
Well, hell yeah. She was from Trinidad.
Okay.
Yep, it's permanently closed now, but I saw that episode. Just this nice little Trinidadian lady making Caribbean cuisine, and I had never had it. And so our dad came down for my birthday one year while I was living down there, and I said we should go try this place.
Yeah,
because I always like trying new foods.
Yep. Yeah,
and it was great.
Like jerk chicken or
yeah, jerk chicken, steamed cabbage, stuff like that.
I think that's the really cool thing about what this guy does. It's not that he goes and is way too happy about food. It's that he goes to these little places that most people would never go to.
Right. Never would have heard about this place before.
Yep. And then gives them a national stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they close.
Well, if you're her, though, you got to sell that off. You guys, as seen on, don't you want my business? Yeah, there's tons of them like that. And I'm similar to you. When I go someplace, I like to go off the beaten path a little bit. I had some jobs where I did like sales for a while where I'd be like on the road. And my favorite thing would be to come into a little town and then find the little diner. Or like Maverick would be off playing basketball somewhere in the middle of Minnesota, which is just flate, which is just flat ground, and you get to the end of a cornfield and all of a sudden there's a bar. And it's like, that's where I'm going to go eat. Because whatever they've got in there is going to be good because there's something that they have that everyone in town comes to get there. And that's kind of what the whole concept is, right?
Oh, yeah.
What's the thing you're known for?
Yeah.
And then come in and then he eats it. And I understand it. If you're standing next to the person in a little tiny kitchen and they've put their heart and soul into this business and you're putting it out to the world,
trying to advertise for them.
Maybe say...
But every once in a while, if you took a couple pieces of bread and put it up against it'd be fun.
Yeah. Have you ever tried spice? Sometimes spice is fun.
Have you tried seasoning food?
Yeah.
Most of the time on those episodes, people are just putting a ridiculous amount of spices in there.
Yeah.
Like he'll have the people show him what their little spice blend is, and it's just like little of this and this and this and this and it's like 14 fucking ingredients.
Well, when the mayor of Flavortown comes knocking at the door,
yeah, gets a bad rap.
I agree.
Yeah,
Nice job.
Thanks, dude.
You agree probably more than I do on that statement.
Well, I'm more of a jovial person than you are. You're more of a creature of hate.
No, not a creature of hate. I am a firm believer that
there's spite.
No, yeah. You are a jovial person in that you are everything's great. Callie's the same way. Everything is fantastic. It's the greatest.
Yeah, go with the flow, whatever, man. Not just this sucks.
Nope. I'm a firm believer that in order to have the best, there must be a worst. There has to be a full spectrum.
And the worst can be pretty okay too.
Yeah, see, no. Then you can't have the jovial.
But
the worst
honestly,
pizza,
he's not going to the worst.
No,
There's
I know.
people checking this out in advance.
Yes, I know.
Right. So he is going to good places.
But every once in a while, he's got his own flavor profile. He's got his own likes and dislikes. Every once in a while, he'll go, not for me. You know what? I can see why people like that. Not for me. What else you got? Like that would be more of my take. Now, granted,
What a boring show.
that's a terrible. That's a terrible way. That's a terrible way to do something. A great example of that. I just had someone in town that just got married, and they're going to Belize for their honeymoon. The only thing I know about Belize is that Gabe Johnson was on a cruise ship one time with his family.
Yeah, went there.
And nothing but trash.
Nothing but trash. It was sad. It's like, can you guys like scrape this up and send it to a poorer country?
So this person says to me, hey, I'm really excited. I'm going on my honeymoon. I'm going to Belize. And I go, I heard there's a lot of trash. Like literally, I like came out of my mouth and I was like, God damn it, Dave. It's gonna be fine for you. It's gonna be totally fine for you. I hope you really love all that trash. No, and no offense to Belize. I'm sure that in the rest of the country, it's great. You were on the coast.
Well, we did take like a boat tour up into the jungle and saw some manatees and monkeys and stuff. And
no, they're less
out in the wilderness, not as much trash. You get into town, trash.
You get onto the ocean. Turns out our trash ends up in Belize.
Yep.
In the water, on the beach.
I was happy the cruise ship was able to make it out of port.
But I felt so bad because I thought of you too, Scott, as soon as it happened, because I was like, God damn it, this is why my brother says that shit. You can't say that to people, Dave. And it just came out.
Oh, you're excited about going to Belize?
Yeah.
Oh, I hear it's
Yeah, let me tell you why. You're going to hate it.
I've only heard one person ever say anything about Belize ever, and it was that it was covered in trash.
The jungle was nice. I was in Belize my first week on the Brainerd City Council.
Okay.
And news broke of a murder across the street from St. Francis Elementary School. My phone was blowing up, and I'm in the middle of the jungle in Belize. Like, how is my phone even working? So their cell service is good.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
They got that going for him. Guy Fieri, I enjoy what he does. I think structure-wise, I enjoy shows like that. You know what you're getting into. Very consumable. Starts off with him in his convertible, wheels rolling. He's talking to the camera. We're going someplace, and I always love the camera pan up. You're like, we got it on him.
Yeah.
When the camera pans up. Starts with the wheel.
Yeah.
Then it's him. Then the camera pans up, and we're going wherever we're going. This week, we're in blah, blah, blah. And if you're going to try this, you're going to want this. Love it.
Hell yeah.
Delicious.
Let's close out television super fast. Let's give a little bit of love to Across the Pond.
The Brits make some good shows.
They do make some good shows. The one I've got here is the IT crowd, the IT crowd.
Very fun series. Only a couple of series.
Yeah, a couple
We call them
seasons.
seasons on this side. IT department. Shenanigans take place. But my favorite part, my favorite bit of the show is every time they answer the helpline, every time somebody from the office building calls down, they say, have you tried turning it off and turning it back on again? And it's every episode they have that.
Hello, IT. Have you tried turning it off and on again?
A great little show, very British, but consumable, very fun. I enjoy it as well. And there are some individuals from that show that have went on to have great success as well. Also, if we're talking British, I'm going to throw this one out there. Planet Earth.
Hey.
David Attenborough is a voice that could put me to sleep anywhere, anytime.
Oh. I'm on the opposite side of the spectrum. You're getting me.
Yeah, I got to pay attention.
Yeah, you're getting me going. You're getting me going.
What are these penguins up to?
Yeah. What do you mean these ants are up to no good? Let's go. Let's find out about it. The cool thing about Planet Earth was how beautifully it was shot as well.
Oh, yeah.
So that's kind of where I want to go with that. I used to put this on for my younger kids when they're the older ones now, but when they were young, put it on and just have it on the television because it was just beautiful. And then, maybe you'll learn something about the Sahara Desert, or penguins. A lot of penguins. You got to like the ice stuff. A lot of birds.
Oh, yeah.
There are a lot of birds.
Yes.
If you believe in that type of thing.
yeah, birds aren't real. But this specifically brings me to my point of 2006 in that I remember this being one of the very first Blu-ray discs that I owned. Blu-ray.
Solid choice.
Came out in 2006 as well. So this last bastion of media, CDs are dying, but Blu-ray coming into focus. And what we might forget is the battle that ensued.
Yes.
So back in the day, you had your VHS versus Betamax.
Yeah.
Which people that are born after the 90s probably don't even know what Betamax is.
Right.
We barely know what Betamax is.
No, but we know it was the superior product.
Superior product with a shorter length, I believe, was the main issue.
Okay.
Better quality, shorter tape length. And Sony was the one pushing Betamax. It did not survive.
So they learned their lesson.
No, they did not learn their lesson.
Sony didn't?
Well, Sony did.
Yeah.
But others did not.
Okay.
Because in 2006, Blu-ray comes around, but there's already another kid on the block, and it's HDDVD.
Oh, yeah.
The DVD consortium has already started their product, and the interesting thing about Blu-ray is the discs had a little blue tint to them, didn't they? Did they feel a little blue? Well, HD-DVD red. A little red tint to it.
Huh.
So on store shelves, you had your blue boxes and your red boxes. Same movie, but you had two different products you could get it on.
Yeah,
But there can be only one. And Scott, do you know why there was a winner in the HD-DVD versus Blu-ray game?
Well, mainly because of the PS3, but also because of porn.
Turns out more pornography was available not just on Blu-ray, but also on VHS. So VHS...
So the porn industry threw its weight behind the Blu-ray system.
And that had a large push towards Blu-ray becoming the only thing you even remember. I mean, how many people actually remember HD DVD?
I didn't until you mentioned it.
Yeah. I bring it up as well because, and you said the PS3, much like the PlayStation had the DVD, the PS3 had a Blu-ray player built in in the early models.
And it was like the same price as a Blu-ray player on its own.
Right, they came out expensive.
So it was like, why the hell wouldn't you buy a PS3 and get the Blu-ray on top of it if it costs pretty much the same amount?
And that's the exact same thing that Sony did with the PS2. And they pushed that whole idea because the DVDs were just starting to become a thing. And this was the cheapest DVD player on the market. Microsoft, in an attempt to not be Sony and to not push their product, did not put Blu-ray into the Xbox 360. So in front of us here, we've got an Xbox 360. We also have a Wii. I do not have a PS3 in front of me. My PS3 is a newer version. It's not the old breadbox version. But Microsoft, as a effort to kind of throw a little monkey wrench into the PS3, actually had an add-on unit for HD DVD as well.
Smart.
So you could get a separate HD DVD drive to play HD DVDs on your Xbox 360, completely as an effort to try and fuck me over.
Which is funny because didn't Sony do something like that with the Saturn or something? Where you had an add-on unit that failed miserably?
So Sony was initially supposed to be the CD unit for the Super Nintendo. That's how the PlayStation started. Is they created the CD unit for the Nintendo or the Super Nintendo, and then Nintendo backed out of that, and that's how the PlayStation was created in general. But yeah, it's just an interesting little take of how the technology, Sony knows, right? We're probably going to lose money on our PS3s, but we can make the money back if we sell a bunch of movies. So let's get people to buy it so they can play Blu-rays on it. I would argue, and let's shift gears real quick, I would argue that the PlayStation 3 is the worst of that generation.
I would argue the Nintendo Wii is the best.
Well, it sold the best.
It definitely sold the best.
Yes.
But I mean, the only thing anybody played was Wii Sports.
Oh, what a great game. The greatest selling game of all time.
So we can get back to the 360. Let's move on to the Wii super fast. The Nintendo Wii was huge.
Oh, the avalanche.
We would like to play.
Go from 2D to 3D in Super Paper Mario, only for Wii. Rated E for everyone.
Everybody was bowling in their living room.
Everyone was bowling. And
everybody was throwing their remotes into their TVs.
Yeah. So let's chat super quick. I've got the Wii remote in front of us here. The Nintendo's angle for the Wii was to eschew what everyone had been doing, which had just been controller, and go with what they referred to as waggle. And the Wii remote, as it is known, because it is a remote, it is not a controller, it is definitely a remote, is set up to be both a pointer and also with the technology to understand gyro movements and whatnot, which could then be translated towards the television. In hindsight, it works okay. But when it first came out,
first of its kind,
and people lost their minds. Both Sony and Microsoft moved into this space after Nintendo did. But Nintendo set the bar very high, and it was specifically games like bowling, which old people were getting. People were buying these for old folks' homes, to have old people have activities, and old people were doing this in old folks' homes, bowling on a Nintendo Wii. Crazy.
Yeah, we would go to my parents' house. We'd bring the Wii to my parents' house, and we'd have from the grandkids who were 4 years old up to my parents who were 60. Like everybody was bowling. It's just fun. And everybody can enjoy it.
And enjoying it. That's the thing that's crazy. It's like, because other people can play video games. It's not a rare thing. Most people at this point now have played a video game in their life, right? At some point, whether it's on your phone or whatever it is. And by this point, when the Wii came out, like you think about like our parents grew up with arcades.
Sure.
Miss Pac-Man comes around. It's specifically meant to try and get women that are out with their boyfriend or their husband to want to be interested in a video game, and it was very successful. So by this point, most people have played a video game of some sort. And it's just interesting that, like you said, you'd get people of all ages playing together and enjoying it, and a very simple thing. How do you feel about it?
About the Wii?
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. One of my favorite games of all time was perfected on the Wii.
Okay.
And that is Resident Evil 4.
Okay.
Resident Evil 4 on the Wii is one of the best games ever made. Specifically on the Wii. It was already an incredible game. But when you add the Wiimote controls and the motion controls and the actually pointing to shoot at stuff, one of the best gaming experiences of my life.
Yeah, the interesting thing about Resident Evil 4 was it was set up so that you would walk and then you would kind of like stop, the camera would go over your shoulder and you would aim.
Yeah.
And so it works really well for this in that, because you're pointing at the screen and you're basically putting a reticule on it and then like a laser pointer almost shooting at the screen. Very, very innovative in taking a game that existed that just happened to also then work really well with this system.
Yeah.
The Wii is always touted as being underpowered. It's about twice as powerful as the GameCube, which the GameCube was a very powerful system for its time. However, it's nowhere near what the 360 and the PS3 were. And so people would shit on the Wii because, you can't do what these other systems can do. But that was kind of Nintendo's point, was what we don't want to do that. We want to sell a boatload of these. And they did. The one thing I found very interesting about it was that the pointer system on it uses, and I've got this little here, this is the sensor bar that comes with it, and it's essentially 2 infrared lights that when you point the Wii remote at it, it takes those, and that's how it determines.
It triangulates.
It triangulates where you are. So the Wii remote itself, I believe, is a camera. A very simplistic camera that is basically just pulling in those lights, or a sensor pulling in those lights and then calculating from there. I learned that when I got this in 2006 and then set it up with my TV that was right next to my Christmas tree. And it was impossible to play the Wii with the Christmas tree on because of the LED lights that were on it. The Wii could not, you'd get it over to the side and it could not calculate with all the lights that were being shown at it. So
curious.
Yeah. Final thoughts on the Wii before we go just real quick to the 360.
I miss it.
So great. My daughter's 22, moved away for college like 4 years ago. She took the Wii with her to have it in her dorm room, and then later in her apartments with her friends. Like people still enjoy playing the Wii.
Yeah, I should pull it back out because my kids are 5 and 6. It's perfect age for it, and you can do some of that stuff still on the Nintendo Switch, but it's not the same. The Wii Remote is such a unique little experience.
Yeah, I might have to get one.
And a hat tip to Guitar Hero.
Yeah,
what a great series of games.
Yeah, Guitar Hero, very, very good. Okay, 360, I just want to say really fast, 360 is one of my all-time favorite systems. I freaking love the Xbox 360. The original Xbox was cool. Xbox 360 was the first time that I was like engaged and totally drawn into a world that was online, and it was driven specifically by the Xbox 360.
Right.
So it launched in 2005. But 2006 is when it really hit its stride. That's when Gears of War came out. That's when it really became like, okay, you fully understand the difference between this and the other systems that are coming out.
Right.
The difference between the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3 to me is worlds. Like the PlayStation 3 was a powerful machine that had good games, but it just felt distant. You turned on your Xbox, put on a headset, and that was my chat room. That's what I did at night. Like I'd come home after work, have dinner with the family. She'd go do whatever she was doing, and I'd sit down and just yell and fuck for 4 hours with my friend.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you did. That's what everybody did.
Yeah.
Not that many people were online gaming on the PS3. That's what the Xbox 360 was all about.
And it was such a cool experience.
Yeah.
You could move from game to game to game with people too. You'd get into a chat room essentially.
Yeah.
And then you could all go, let's play this instead, swap. And you physically have to put the disc in, but you would just wait for everyone to pull it up, and then everyone would literally still be in the same game. I believe you could still converse with people even though you weren't in that game. So your friend could be playing something. I could pull it up and send him a message, connect our audio to each other and be like, hey, what's going on? Yeah, I'm finishing up this. It's like, hey, do you want to go do this? And then navigate yourselves to these different games. It was awesome. I spent so much time with the 360. I love the 360. Had the Red Ring of Death.
Of course, everybody did.
Everyone did. I eventually had the Red Ring of Death. I guess what happened was the motherboard that was in the system would overheat and warp, and it would pop the pins on the processor. And so then the system was just shot. Cost Microsoft billions of dollars because they actually would ship you a new system. You would send them your system. They would ship you a new system. And I had that happen.
Yeah, we master gamers were running liquid-cooled machines by that time.
Yeah, whatever. You weren't online with your friend jumping from 360 game to 360 game, telling kids that they were words that we probably don't say anymore. Listen, I woke up many times on the floor after blacking out playing Halo 3. With my kids kicking me in the head, trying to wake me up because Dad passed out drunk, headset still on, puddle of drool in the living room.
You smell like Uncle Scott.
I totally forgot about that. At one point, God, was it Maverick or was it Isabel? I think it was Isabel.
I think it was Izzy.
My daughter Isabel, who was very young, came up to somebody, it might have been myself, and I had been drinking, and she just goes, "You smell like Uncle Scott." You were young. Scott was young.
Yeah, I was 22.
Yeah,
I was drinking a lot back then.
Yeah. Great moment. Okay, last thing I just want to talk about before we get out of here. The cool thing about the Xbox, it really introduced the online marketplace, small consumable games from indie people. And then the last thing was achievements. Achievements is what they really knocked out of the park.
Yeah.
The idea that you would just keep a gamer score of all these points you would get for playing different things and accomplishing tasks was really cool. Fun fact about the Xbox 360. There is a game that no one has ever gotten all the achievements on.
Oh, really? Geometry Wars?
Oh, that was a great game. Love Geometry Wars. That game is Cars Race-O-Rama.
What?
Like the Pixar Cars?
So the Pixar movie Cars, in 2009, they released Cars Race-O-Rama. And so achievements were the various things you would try to achieve, different goals. And people love to try and get all the achievements. Well, Cars Race-O-Rama had an achievement for getting all the achievements. The problem with that,
you can't get that achievement
unless you somehow get that achievement.
Nobody in the boardroom thought of that.
So it is physically impossible to get all the achievements in Cars Race-O-Rama because the last achievement is for getting all the achievements.
Are you stupid or something?
Take that, you dumb kids.
Yep, the Xbox 360 has an achievement for unlocking all other achievements. Since that achievement is itself an achievement, it is impossible to unlock it. That's hilarious.
Right to jail, right away.
All right, folks, we're going to go and get the hell out of here. Final thoughts on 2006.
Good times. That's when I graduated. High school.
Yeah? Nice.
Yeah.
Good times. That's when my daughter turned 4.
All right.
I was about the same boat.
No, it was a great year. I apologize to the fans. I didn't research what memes dropped in 2006, so we'll have to get back on that in 2007.
That's okay. We'll get back to it. I also loved 2006. I think it's a great year, and I'm really excited for the movies next time. So if you've got a movie for us that you want us to watch, shoot it over to us. You got a couple days here to get that over to us. The Constant Gardener, you can watch it. It's not from 2006. We're not going to talk about it again, but you could watch it. All right, folks, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. We've got one thing to talk about after the drop, and it is a ScotBadeaux special.
Oh, boy.
So stick tuned. Stick around for that, and we will be back next week with the movies. Until then, we're done.
Frisky Dingo?
Let's talk Frisky Dingo.
Okay. Adam Reed.
Yep.
His first show, C-Lab 2021.
Yep, love it.
Which was awesome.
Yep.
And then he went on to create the show Archer.
Yep. Yeah.
But this was just a little 2-season series on Adult Swim that has some of my favorite character interactions that have ever been written down.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really weird premise in a really weird show. But it's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean it's the superhero. He's basically Iron Man. Or he's like an Iron Man
meets Batman, yeah,
kind of character. But he's just aloof and a doofus.
Yep,
and stupid.
Yep.
Versus like this alien guy,
almost like a demon.
Yeah, he wears no clothes,
and his name is Killface.
Yeah,
yeah. The show is just okay for a guy that then went on to make Archer. You know, first he had C-Lab, which was just taking old Hanna-Barbera, I believe it was.
Yep.
The show C-Lab 2020 and redubbing it and making a little bit of animation to make it C-Lab 2021. And then Frisky Dingo.
Yep.
And then eventually gets on
and Frisky Dingo was all original content?
Yeah.
Yes, but it was in that era from, because it is William Street, right?
Yeah. So it's early Adult Swim, and and early Adult Swim was all very Hanna-Barbera spoofy kind of stuff.
Yeah, but it has that thing where they took like a photo of like a city and put it into Photoshop and put a filter on it. So like the backgrounds are super blurry, very you can tell what they did to make the backgrounds, which is cool. I think it's a cool way of doing something. But it's like you go back, there is no HD version of Frisky Dingo. Yeah. But it's just slightly off because like Killface as your name, as your main character, you know, the jokes are.
Well, it's pretty clear you don't like the guy.
Yeah, well, you know who the bad guy is, but yet he's not the bad guy because it's shot from almost like it's his reality TV show.
Right, it's kind of office-y
a little
at some
bit.
points.
Yeah,
where he addresses the camera directly, kind of.
Yeah.
Sort of. It's been a really long time since
I
actually
a little
watched
bit.
it.
Yeah. But there's some real funny jokes to that. some of the funniest stuff that I've ever seen. And of course, that guy goes on to make Archer, and Archer is just fantastic. Yeah. But yeah, Frisky Dingo is great. Go check it out.
Yeah, my favorite. I have two favorite interactions between two characters. One's from the Venture Brothers, and this other one from Frisky Dingo. So there's like these henchmen kind of guys that wear like these power suits.
Yep.
And the guy, their boss at the time, tells them they have to do something, and if they don't, he's going to blow one of their heads off every hour. And he goes off screen, and one of the guys just goes, "Oh my effing God." He goes, "Well, what are we going to do?" And the other guy says, "Well, first of all, maybe we shouldn't have agreed to have remote-controlled explosives put in our necks." He goes, "Well, where were you at contract time?" Goes, "Your mom's house." The guy takes out a gun and points it at him, and he goes, "Oh, cleaning. Dude, I was only cleaning." Puts the gun down. He goes, "Yeah, that's what I thought." The other guy raises his own gun. He says, "Her vagina."
And that, folks, is Frisky Dingo.
Yes.
I got one last thing for you guys before we go. It's Christmas. I got you gifts.
Oh.
So
thoughtful. Is it a Blu-ray of Renfield?
It is not. First, we'll go with iKnowBadeaux. Scott, I know that you are a fan of Mega Man.
Yes.
I got you, specifically Mega Man X. I got you all of the Mega Man X games.
Holy shit.
1 through 8.
Holy moly.
In
All right.
one collection for the Nintendo Switch. And
Yes.
it's open because I dropped it and it blew up like a balloon.
Okay. I know you.
He played it.
No, I didn't. I didn't play it.
Thank you.
I dropped it. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, Mega Man 1 through 8.
X.
Or Mega Man X 1 through 8. So a great thing. And then, Gabe, you have gotten yourself into vinyls.
Very much so.
I said that I thought that One Play and Trade had vinyls. And they do have vinyls. So I have purchased you Van Halen from 1984.
Heck yeah.
People love to refer to it as Van Halen 4. It is the greatest Van Halen cover in my eyes. It's just a little angel smoking cigs. Smoking cigs. So Gabriel Johnson,
thank you, sir.
Merry Christmas to you as well. Just want to tell you guys thanks.
Oh, they're so sexy.
Yeah. I wanted to make sure your kids got introduced to some hair bands as well. So I just want to thank you guys. It's been a great year for the podcast. Yeah. And I just love doing this. It's fun. Get together, hang out for a little bit. And really appreciate you guys. So
likewise.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
So special.
It's actually pronounced Hager.
Is that right?
Yeah, the company founder, Joseph Marion Hager, who was F***ing penguins.